Welcome back, and if this is your first time here, we're glad to have you. This is the first time I've ever done like a bow build video, so come along. We are going to turn this to this. Yeah, let's do this. I bought this bow a few days ago and I have not had a chance to do anything with it because we've just been so busy. So told the wife, cancel all our plans today. I'm playing with my new bow. Now it's not brand new. This is a used PSE XF33. This bow is about 2 to 3 years old. Picked it up off of a Facebook group and it's in excellent shape. So let's put it together and get it ready to shoot. I've got a 3D shoot. It's called an R100 that's put on by Reinhardt that's coming up here in like 10 days. So I need to get this thing ready. I built myself a little order of operations sheet here to kind of keep me on track. But first off, we are going to take this old grip tape off. That is not something I'm really interested in having on here. So we are just going to cut this off. There we go. That looks nice. Part of the idea with this bow was I wanted it to be kind of a budget build. So pretty much everything that's going on this bow I bought off Amazon. So we're going to start with a Hamskea. This is the Trinity Pro. This is actually, I think, one of the older models, but this is what was available. It's even got the old spring on it still, so, but it'll work. It'll be fine. So I am not going to have like a ton of time to like tune this. I normally would go through a torque tuning and all that stuff. I probably am not going to get to that before I take this to the shoot in a week and a half. We'll see how much time I have. So we're just going to push that in basically all the way forward and lock it in there. For the sight, I'm going to put another one of these Trophy Ridge Swift Duos on here. I put one of these on my Mission hunting bow, and it's a phenomenal sight, especially for the price you pay for these things. They are just such a good sight. They have so many features, and they are so easy to set up. Getting out of the package is a different story, but here we go. So we are going to do a completely separate video on this sight when I get it leveled, sighted in, and then get a sight tape on it. So, but for now, it's just going to get bolted on here, so I've got a pin to look at. Now, if I'm being honest, I am kind of scared to death of this bow in a press because this is a past parallel limb bow. And I just have the original fingers on here. So I'm just going to take this tripod and put it underneath here just to prevent it from trying to shoot out in case it wants to. I just want to make sure it's not going to go anywhere. That's my biggest fear. With these past parallels, they'll shoot out of the press because I don't have the upgraded fingers on this. Now we need to check the timing. We did that in the last video. The bottom cam was hitting first. So that means we need to slow it down. So that means we need to add a couple twists into the take-up cable on the bottom. So I'm just going to add enough pressure to this to get this off. And we are going to add a full twist. I think we're there. So George Riles just posted a video here like a week ago talking about cam timing, and based on, he was kind of dispelling some rumor about the grip height on a drawboard versus where you're drawing it from. And it was excellent. He put D-loops that are way too high, way too low, and showed that D-loop height doesn't change timing, and neither does your grip height. Excellent video. Go watch. All right, with that one twist, Can you see that? There you go, focus. That is just barely touching. That one's just barely touching. Timing set. In the current setting, the draw length is it's just a little short for me. So we are going to lengthen it. I have not changed. Do you have to take this all the way out? It doesn't look like it. I'm going to start with an inch extra, because I think that's going to fit me a little better. We'll try it here in just a moment, though. I do like that it's got a pin in there that actually drops into place, so that way you're not depending on the screws to hold it in place. That's the right one, right? Put this one in F? Yeah. We are in F. The next thing we're going to work on is we're going to pull this D-loop and knots off and have a look at this center serving underneath. This D-loop's fairly worn, and I just don't... Pink's not really my thing on my bow, so we're going to pull that off. Pull these knots off and see if I need to reserve this. Yeah, they're definitely separated. I'm going to check Nock fit here on the serving that's on here. It's kind of snug. Like, my arrows just won't pop off there. Well, I'm glad I checked that. Off camera, I just looped some of this around the string just to see how the Nock fit was with the serving material I have. This is 18,000th. It's actually bigger. My guess is just feeling these strings, like they're really thick. So they've got quite a few strands in these strings. If I cut this serving off and put this on, the Nock serving or the Nock fit's not going to be very good. So I think I'm going to take a play out of Josh Bomar's playbook, and I've seen him on a couple different videos that he just kind of squishes the serving back together. So let's do that. I'm going to do that for now. I will order some more serving material, and I'll probably end up redoing this at some point, but I want to get this done so I can get this bow shot so it's ready for this next week. All right, I think I was able to get that back together pretty good. Like I said, that's a temporary solution because I don't have the right serving right now. One thing I found that's really important for me and for how well my bow holds is my my loop height on the string. Paige Pierce did a video about this a while ago that I watched, and so I tried it on my other two bows, made a world of difference on how well they held. So that's what we're going to do on this one too, is both of those bows, I tend to be Nock high a little bit, holds better. So all I'm doing is I'm just kind of marking the top of the burger button here, or the burger hole. And then I'm going to tie a loose loop, like tight enough it'll hold, but loose enough I can actually move it until I can figure out where I want my peep height, and then we'll lock it in. So let me tie on a quick loop here, and we'll do some holding drills or holding test until I figure out where I want this. All right, with that loop on there, we are just going to draw the bow back. I've got my target set up. I've got a little dot on there that I can look at. And I'm just going to draw the bow and hold it and just see what the pin does. And then I'm going to slide this D-loop up and down the string, and not a ton. I'm not like moving it half an inch. We're talking maybe an eighth, maybe 3/16 up and down, just to see if there's a spot that it holds better. And I found on both my bows it made just such a big difference. So let's try right here. So I initially marked it right at the top of the burger hole of where the arrow is going to sit, so we're going to start with that. And I'm just going to do this for a few minutes, probably be off camera. You guys don't want to watch me just draw and stare through my peep. don't know, that initial spot is really good. Let's move this up just a hair. Well, I think that's the spot. Now the biggest thing I'm looking for is what my pin's doing. If my pin is bobbing up and down, that's what I'm trying to get rid of with this, is I don't want my pin to be dipping hard because I've had that problem. And I found moving my loop height up a little bit pretty much solves that. So with that, I'm going to mark this really, really good so I know where to tie my bottom knot. And we're going to take this D-loop off. So I'm going to set this right where I had all, so I marked where the arrow was sitting in between the two knots on the D-loop. So I'm just going to start tying this right there at the bottom. Now I have found, and I don't know if it's unique to me, but if I tie my soft knots equal sized, my release doesn't actually pull straight back behind the arrow. It's like pulling upwards. I don't know if that's a problem or not. I just don't like the way it looks, especially since I, take a lot of video of what I'm doing. So what I've done to alleviate that is I add some extra knots at the bottom. So I usually put about 8 or 9 knots at the bottom and only 3 or 4 at the top. And that actually gets my release to pull directly behind the knock. And I like the way it looks. I think it looks better. I know that I moved this serving, so I know it's not super, super tight. So knowing that, I know when I put my D-loop on here and I start shooting, I'm going to get some compression. So I am going to leave probably a larger than I should gap here at the top, but I know it's going to close up. So I'm going to leave a solid, probably 1/8 inch right there. And I guarantee you, after I shoot 15, 20 arrows, that this gap is going to close up on this thing quite a bit. Before I get too carried away here with the D-loop, I am going to move the Peep, because the Peep's way, way high for me. I know this needs to be closer to about 6 inches. Shot needs to be higher out right there. So I'm going to cut this serving loose and move this Peep down a little bit. Ooh, that actually kind of turned to the right spot. Look at that. It's facing the right direction and everything. Let's just draw that and see how it feels right there. I'm guessing it's dang close. Oh, I don't have a loop on here. Just kidding. I need a D-loop first before I can draw this bow back. I'm not going to put this on super tight yet, because if I need to move this and turn the string, I want to be able to do that without locking my D-loop down. So I'm going to still tie this snug, again, snug enough to draw. But I'm going to leave it loose enough. If I need to twist it, I can without trying to twist everything else up. Just put a small snug on there, just enough to hold it. That feels good right there. Okay. I think we're going to go with that position. Well, that seems like the spot, and it's just about the right direction too. It's not even twisted right there. So those are about even. And I'm just going to do kind of the typical tie-in where it's a couple around the peep and then do the wind up the string and put a back serve on top and bottom and call it sufficient. Now, of course, everybody has their own way of doing peeps, but this one works really well. 4, 5, 6, and it holds it pretty good, so it's not overly complicated. It does look nice. I like the way it looks when it's all said and done. Quick little back serve there. Just gonna wrap around the pliers here and give it a little tug. Not a lot, just enough. Not trying to break it. Just want it tight. Now that that peep is looks like it's pulling straight back, I'm going to put a little more pressure on this D-loop. Make sure that knot's nice and tight so it doesn't decide it wants to go somewhere else. Get our activation cord here for this setup. Now, on these PSEs, they have this split yoke thing, which from my understanding, you're supposed to be able to tie off rests into this. So we're going to try it and see how it works, and we'll go from there. I'm going to pull a little more slack out of this though. So that should pull into that pretty snug. So now I should be able to just slide this off. Is that the idea? There we go. I like it. All right, we're going to get this rest set up. We are just going to, oh, that needs to go way out. That was pretty obvious though. I know 13/16 is the standard, so we're just going to go like right there. I'm going to call that close enough for today. From back here, that looks like it's running pretty straight, so we'll go with that. As for height, I don't have this leveled or anything, but looks like it probably needs to come up just a little bit. We'll figure that out for sure when we shoot it through paper. But if I had to guess, it probably needs to be pretty close to that. Next up, we're going to put back bar bracket on here. Again, this is just an Amazon special. It's nothing expensive. I did buy an Amazon special back bar just for this. This is a Perogen, I don't know, some Chinese brand. Again, very affordable. Actually have this one of these on my other bow, and I really like it. It's compact. It's got just enough weight to it. All right, back bar's done. So I bought a CBE quick disconnect for the front of this, but for some reason it's not, something's wrong with it. I don't know why that's not working. So we're just gonna screw this directly into the bow. Now, like I said before, this is basically an Amazon build. Everything I ordered off Amazon. The exception to that is just this front bar. And this is just the one off my other hunting bow. And that's what's gonna go on here for now. So, that's kitted up. That's how it's gonna look. That actually balances really well, just like that. I'm not gonna have to do a lot of work to that. Next video, we're gonna shoot it through paper, take it outside, bare shaft tune it, get it sighted in at 20, shoot it through the chrono, get some speeds, get a sight tape slapped on this, and hopefully get some distance on this thing. Thanks for coming along. We'll see you on the next one. It'll be coming out really quick.